Welcome students on the online teaching from Sri Shankaracharya Vidyalaya. Hope you are all well and in high spirits. Today we are going to start with the chapter 3 part 2 drainage. In the last video I have discussed about what is land drainage, about the drainage basin, about the river divide. I have explained the drainage system in India that is divided into two major divisions, that is Himalayan rivers and the peninsular rivers. This is the total river system we can see from a picture or the map. It is a very vital part to get a concept about the map. And the Himalayan rivers are called as the perennial rivers, that is they have the water throughout the year, what is the one of the important point. And peninsular rivers, that is the seasonal ones. Flow is dependent on rainfall. We have discussed about the drainage patterns. Now among the Himalayan rivers also we have discussed about the Indus river system. Today we are going to discuss about the Ganga river system. So the Ganga river system source is the headwaters of Ganga called the Bhagirathi is fed by the Gangotri glaciers. The tributaries of Ganga are Alaknanda joined at Devprayag in Uttarakhand. And Yamuna rises from Yamunotri glacier in Himalayas joined at Allahabad. And the Ghagra, the Gandak, the Koshi rise in the Nepal Himalayas, the Chambal, the Betwa and the Son rise from the semi-arid areas. So thus we can say that the headquarters of Ganga called the Bhagirathi is fed by the Gangotri glacier and joined by Alaknanda at Devprayag in Uttarakhand. At Haridwar, the Ganga emerges from the mountains onto the plains. The Ganga is joined by many tributaries from Himalayas. Okay, a few of them being major rivers such as Yamuna, the Ghagra, the Gandak and Koshi. The river Yamuna rises from Gangotri glacier in the Himalayas. It flows parallel to the Ganga and as a right bank tributary meets the Ganga at Allahabad. Others, the Ghagra and the Gandak and Koshi rise in the Nepal Himalayas. They are the rivers which flood parts of the northern plains every year. So these are very noticeable rivers because they create the flood in the northern plains which causes a widespread damage to life and property, whereas they enrich the soil for the agriculture use also side by side. And the main tributaries which come from the peninsular uplands are the Chambal, the Betwa and the Son. These rise from the semi-arid areas, have shorter courses and do not carry much water in them. So, enlarged with the waters from its right and left bank tributaries, the Ganga flows eastward till Farakka in the West Bengal. Then this is the northernmost point of the Ganga delta. The river bifurcates here. And this northernmost point of Ganga delta, that is the river where bifurcates, the Bhagirathi Hooghly, a distributary, flows southwards through the deltaic plains of the Bay of Bengal. The main stream flows southward into Bangladesh and is joined by Brahmaputra there. So further downstream it is also known as Meghna. And I have written over there Sundarban Delta. The delta formed by the rivers, it is called the Ganga and the Brahmaputra is known as the Sundarban Delta. It is one of the it is also called the Ganga Brahmaputra Delta also. It is the biggest delta. Okay. Next, we will later discuss about what is delta and what are the estuaries. This is the picture of the drainage system of Ganga river system. Here is the Rishikesh, there is the Devprayag, Haridwar, Allahabad, Varanasi, Patna, Calcutta, and it's flowing down towards the West Bengal to form the delta near the Sundarban areas. It is the, we can see the pictures over here. See, it is forming the delta. It is forming the small tributaries and smaller and thinner tributaries it is forming to join the ocean, that is the Bay of Bengal over here, forming the Sundarban delta. Now we are coming up with the Brahmaputra river system. The Brahmaputra rises in the Tibet east of Manaswarar lake, very close to the sources of Indus and Satluj. It is largely longer than Indus and most of its course lies outside India. It flows eastwards parallel to the Himalayas. On reaching Namcha Barwa, that is, it takes a U-turn and returns India in the Arunachal Pradesh through a gorge, the forming a gorge. Okay, it's forming a U-turn, reaching Namcha Barwa, that is the high elevation, and enters India in Arunachal Pradesh, forming a gorge. Now, here it is called as Diang, and it is joined by Dibang. It is called as Diang, and it is also called as Dibang, the Lohit and many other tributaries to form the Brahmaputra in Assam. I have given the names over here. Now, in Tibet, the river carries a small volume of water and less tilt as it is a cold and dry area. So, in India, it passes through a region of high rainfall. Here, the river carries a large volume of water and considerable amount of silt. The Brahmaputra has braided channel in its entire length in Assam and forms many riverine islands. It forms many riverine islands. And every year during the rainy season, the river overflows its banks, causing widespread flood in Assam and devastating flood, what you can say, in Assam and Bangladesh. Unlike other North Indian rivers, the Brahmaputra is marked by huge deposits of silt in its bed, causing riverbed to rise. This is the structure of Brahmaputra and its tributaries. You can see it's a beautiful picture how it is coming and joining, and it is coming through the northeast part and coming inside India. We can have a clear picture from here also. See, this is one how it is coming. Here's the Bangladesh, so West Bengal, Sikkim, then Nepal. It is coming upside from Namcha Barwa, and it is coming, entering through Arunachal Pradesh, and it's entering through Bangladesh over here, crossing Assam. Now we are going to study about the peninsular rivers. As we said earlier, peninsular rivers are dependent on the seasonal rainfall water. So these are the main water divide in peninsular India is formed by the Western Ghats. Major rivers of the peninsula such as Mahanadi, Godavari, the Krishna and the Kaveri flow eastwards and drain into Bay of Bengal. The Narmada and Tapi are the only long rivers which flow east and make estuaries. Later we will discuss about what is delta and estuaries. Before that, let us read about the peninsular river system. So east flowing, some are east flowing, that is we said just now, Godavari, Kaveri, that is Mahanadi. Okay. Now this is Narmada, Tapi are the west flowing rivers. Here is another picture for you, the peninsular river system. It's giving a clear picture of the peninsular rivers. Next is this is Mahanadi, Godavari, Narmada, Tapi, Krishna, Kaveri. You can write from C-A-U also. You can use K-A-V-E-R-I, Kaveri. Both the spellings are Okay. Now the Tapi Basin. Now Narmada Basin. The Narmada Basin, its source, we can say the Narmada rises from Amarkantak hills in Madhya Pradesh. You have a very good idea about Amarkantak. It's very near to Chhattisgarh. It's a Bhilai. It's a tourist spot also. We also often go for the visit in this place. So Amarkantak in Madhya Pradesh, it flows towards the west in a rift valley, forming due to faulting on its way to sea. Narmada creates many picturesque locations. The marble rocks near Jabalpur, where Narmada flows through a deep gorge, and the Dauladhar Falls, where the river plunges into steep rocks, and some of the notable ones. So Narmada is having tributaries of Narmada are very short, and most of them join the main stream at right angles. The Narmada basin covers parts of Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat. Okay, the Narmada basin covers the parts of Madhya Pradesh and Gujarat. Now we are coming up with the Tapi basin. So what we call have the idea of the Tapi basin. The Tapi rises in the Satpura ranges and in the Betul district in Madhya Pradesh. It flows in the Rift Valley parallel to Narmada, but it is shorter in length. It is shorter in length than Narmada. Okay, now it basins covers parts of Madhya Pradesh, Gujarat and Maharashtra. The coastal plains between the Western Ghats and Arabian Sea are very narrow. Hence the coastal rivers are short. The main west flowing rivers are Sabarmati, Mahi, then Bharatpuzha and Periyar. So let us see the picture over here given a map. This one. You can see the Narmada and Tapi rivers. Here is the Narmada river and here is the Tapi river. So it's a very clear, it's a very much towards the western coastal areas. This is the west coast. Now we are going to start with the Godavari basin. See, Godavari basin, Godavari river is the largest peninsular river and it rises on the slopes of Western Ghats. It rises on the slopes of the Western Ghat in the Nasik district of Maharashtra. Its length is 1500 km. It drains into Bay of Bengal. And its drainage basin is also called the largest among the peninsular rivers. The basin covers parts of Maharashtra, about 50%, and parts of Madhya Pradesh, Orissa, Andhra Pradesh. The Godavari is joined by a number of tributaries such as Purna, Varda, Pranhita, then Manjira, then Wainganga and Penganga. The last three tributaries are very large because of its length and area. So Godavari is also called as Dakshin Ganga. Okay, so let us see a picture how it is flowing. So here is a picture given how Godavari river is flowing. Here is Chhattisgarh, Arunachal Pradesh, Maharashtra, Karnataka, and it is flowing like this. So in the next we are coming up with the Mahanadi basin. The sources, the Mahanadi rises in the highlands of Chhattisgarh. It flows through the Orissa to reach the Bay of Bengal. Its drainage basin is shared by Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand and Orissa. The total length is 860 km. Let us see the picture. Here is the Chhattisgarh and Mahanadi is this, how it's flowing. Let us move to next slide, that is Krishna basin. The Krishna basin rises from a spring near Mahabaleshwar. Tributaries of Krishna are Tungabhadra, Koyana, the Ghat Prabha, the Musi and the Bhima. Total length is 1400 km. and its drainage basin is shared by Maharashtra, Karnataka, Andhra Pradesh. So the next we come up with a map over here. You can see the map. Here is the Krishna basin. Next, we are coming up with the Kaveri basin. Kaveri basin. It rises in the Brahmagiri range of the Western Ghats. Tributaries of Kaveri are Amaravati, Bhavani, Hemavati, Kavni. Total length is 7560 km. It reaches the Bay of Bengal in the south of Kudalur in Tamil Nadu. Other east flowing are Damodar, Brahmani, the Baitarini and the Suvarnarekha. Now we are going to discuss about the east flowing river and west flowing river. The main difference between the east flowing river and the west flowing river. You see the Mahanadi, Godavari, Krishna, Kaveri are the main east flowing rivers of Peninsula India. And Narmada, Tapi are the main west flowing rivers of Peninsular India. These rivers drain in the Bay of Bengal. This intersea through the estuaries. They form the deltas, they form estuaries. The rivers develop a large tributary system, and this river are devoid of developed tributary system. This river flow not enough but deep canals, they through the rocks. And then we are supposed to see these are the South Indian rivers, peninsular rivers. Next, it is very important to know the difference between delta and estuary. See triangular deposit made by rivers at the mouth of delta and sharp edged mouth of rivers devoid of deposits known as estuaries. Deltas are formed in the regions of low tides and coastal plains. Region of high tides and Rift Valley witness estuaries. Deltas are fertile land, estuaries are not fertile land. Ganga, Brahmaputra, Krishna, Kaveri, Mahanadi, they form the delta, and Narmada, Tapi rivers, they form the estuaries. So this is all about the today's discussion. Next video we will come up with the next part, the last part of this chapter. Okay, thank you.